What's going on, everyone? This is day number 3 of the Daily Journal video series where I am documenting my journey here in terms of business lessons, live lessons, trying to get our business to $10 million. Tomorrow is an exciting day. We're doing a super, super big announcement. The biggest announcement that we have ever dropped to our clients. I can't say what it is right now, but it's the biggest announcement that we have ever made to our clients. We are putting together this big event for our clients. Um, we have sent a ton of emails and trying to get them to, save the date for tomorrow, get them to show up. And we've got a huge feature released for them tomorrow. We're super excited about that and about seeing how it's all going to work out. We've been planning internally inside our team. We've been planning on how we are going to approach tomorrow, and what we think it's going to happen, and putting together all of the processes. I just finished putting together some of the processes to make sure that the event is smooth and and everything goes well, essentially. So we have that coming on tomorrow. Super excited about that. It is going to be a super busy week. Just overall, right now, although we're a strong team of 5, it feels like we're understaffed because there's so much work to do inside our company. And we've hired some people, and unfortunately it didn't end up working out with them. And so one of the things that we've been thinking about inside our company is this whole idea of, we know we need the people. We have a vision that we see for how this company could be huge, how our company could be really great. And we are able to see, at least for me, in my eyes, I'm able to spot here some trends in our company that I think nobody else has spotted yet, and I think we have a huge lead. um, and it makes me think of this whole idea of taking big bets. So like, um, I listened to Charlie Munger. There was a period of time where I was listening a lot to Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett. I had just read Warren's book, Snowball, and and then I read Charlie's. I think it's the Tao of Charlie or Poor Charlie's Almanac, one of those two. In any case, talks about a bunch of Charlie Munger's lessons. Super, super insightful read, really thoughtful person. And one of the things that he talked about is like, in life, you don't get so many big chances. But when you do, you gotta go in with both hands and grab as much pie as you can. So you gotta go all in. It's essentially his point. Whenever you see something clearly that internally is like you have certainty in it, then go all in. And I'm somebody who's usually very timid when it comes to making like big decisions. I'm usually somebody very averse to like going all in, or like just out of scarcity mindset, the fear of like, is it going to work? Am I going to lose everything? Are things going to be okay? But one of the things that I'm learning more and more as I step into business is this idea that, and this is, uh, I mean, I gotta give some context. We've been a part of a mastermind program in which they teach this concept of, there is a visionary and then there is an operator, for example, right? And then the visionary of the company is the one that's coming up with these ideas, and who's able to see kind of the vision for the company. And so, like, one of the things that I have been thinking a lot about is this idea of being a visionary, um, you're able to see things in the future that, you know, because of experience, certain skill sets, you're able to see just specific knowledge. You're able to spot trends in the future, um, that other people can't. And something that I am realizing more and more about being a visionary is that you're hoping that other people would see the same thing as you, because it's so obvious to you whenever you see something, whenever you see an idea, something should be done a certain way, and you don't say something about it, or you don't do something about it. um it makes me think that, um or at least what I've been thinking is that whenever I have these ideas that to me are obvious, I should just go all in and just do it, or say it, do it, execute it, whatever it might be that I need to do, just taking action. So it just reminds me, like, for example, there was this in the news, there was this submarine that went and like dove trying to go to the bottom of the ocean to spot the Titanic, and it imploded. And a lot of people came on the news, smart people who have dealt with submarines before. And I remember this one guy who spoke on the news was like, hey, I've been working with submarines for over 30 years. I knew that what they were doing wasn't going to work. I had many objections, but but the way he said it is like, in my head, I didn't I thought to myself, I'm like, well, somebody smart is surely going to be looking at this, and that's not going to get beyond them. And so he was able to see something that other people were not, and he didn't say something, right? He didn't take action. He didn't say, he didn't do his part. And so, like, that's how I feel about my ideas. It's like, I feel like I get this ideas, and I feel like they might be obvious to me, but but other people can't see it. And so I think, and I was speaking to, we were having yesterday, I went to hang out with our friends, and we were having this conversation about nurture, how much of your personality is nurture versus nature. And anyway, and we can talk about that here in a second, but one of the things that came up is this whole idea of, like, in how you want to find your role in business that suits your strengths, that suits your need, that or that you're best suited for, with your skills, with your personality, with your strengths. Find the role that kind of matches your personality, so that you're able to, so that that role is essentially what you're made for, right? And I think there's a lot of power in that. And so we were chatting about that, and we were talking about how in business there's a couple of different roles. So, like, there's this book that one of my partner has been reading, is one of the roles is the visionary, the other one is uh, uh, the executor, somebody who's like executing the task. The visionary is the person with the ideas. You have the stabilizer, is the person who's bringing order, and then you have the unifier, which is the person who's bringing everybody together. So something like that. I think those are it. I might be missing some. It's from a book called Organizational Physics. And so, when I said that, it's like the visionary, the person with the ideas, my friend is like, oh, it's so easy. The visionary is probably the easiest role, because it's the one that just has the ideas, just get to write out the ideas, and they don't have to do the work. And he said that, and he's a visionary. He didn't realize that that was one of his strengths that didn't come naturally or didn't come easily to other people. And so just the ability that, your strength is, or things that you're strong in, that are super visible to you, might be invisible to other people, or you take it for granted just because you think like, oh, this is so clear for me. You take it for granted that it might not be clear for other people. And so in any case, this whole idea of, like, if I think I have a good idea, just going all in, and taking a big bet, especially if it's one where I've gotten these moments right now just recently within our company of where I am very positive, very like I have a lot of certainty in the future, that I am able to see the trends that I'm seeing and where I think it's going. And um, we're trying to make moves inside our company to capitalize on that. And I think we are totally going to be able to do that. And so like one of the things that we need to do is we need to hire somebody who is really good. So we need a strong team to execute and to make the most out of this idea. And so, but a strong team, I mean, a strong team is expensive. And so this is one of those things where why I'm feeling like, man, we just need to go for it and take big bets and like risk it anyway, because I am 100% sure that what I'm thinking is going to happen. And if that is the case, then if then I almost feel like we're betting on a for sure future. And so I need to do that, just like Charlie Munger talks about. It's like whenever there's a few opportunities. So Charlie Munger, the way he invests, him and Warren Buffett, is that they don't invest into everything. They essentially just wait for the best opportunities that they could see clearly are going to be total winners. And then they just go all in into those. And so most of the time throughout the year, they're just saying no to everything that comes up. So they're saying 98% of the time they're saying no until they find that one opportunity that they can totally see that is within their what they call their circle of competence, which is their skill set that they've developed, their specific knowledge that they have mastery over. They can see like, okay, this company is 100% going to be a winner, so they take big bets. They're not like the Ray Dalio style where they're just hedging their bets and what do you call it, diversifying. They're not diversifying. They find a good opportunity and boom, they go all in. And so that's kind of what I've been thinking about, is like this whole idea of what does that look like for me? I don't have the capital that Warren Buffett has, of course. I don't have the billions of dollars to go all in on an opportunity that I see. But in my own realm, in our own small company, I'm able to see an opportunity right now that, taking a big bet for us looks like hiring an employee that might be a little bit over what we're comfortable with paying. We might be stretching ourselves a little bit here, but it just feels like the right thing to do because it's what we need right now. We needed somebody who's extremely solid, or multiple people who are solid, who can help us grow really quickly. And so we need to capitalize on this and just move forward and take this big bet. And so, and this is something that we have noticed right now with employees, is that, we just hired recently an employee who does the work of like 2-3 people. I mean, he's just extremely fast. He's really good, extremely reliable. Takes takes so much initiative. Moves super fast, and so it's like, and we've been struggling to find somebody like that. But and like for us, this is one of the most. This has been the employee that we have paid the most, but he's brought the most amount of value, so it's been super worth it. And so like this is one of those things where even like just experience has confirmed it. It's like you want to find the best people. And so what we've done, what we're thinking about now is we just need to take a big bet and find somebody else like that. Like the more A players, and that's like, I hate using that term because everybody's like, oh, you just need A players. You need, I mean, but it's true. You need people. And the way I think about it is like, you got to pay well to attract good talent. which is scary whenever you're a small business because you may not have the budget to do that, right? But like for me, it's a bet that I'm right now deciding to make because I think that it's gonna pay off. I'm seeing the future, but in the past, I haven't been so courageous to take this gigantic bets. I mean, it's not even gigantic, but like for us, it as a small business, it feels that way. And so, um, in any case, like the taking for me in the past, I've been timid. So like we want somebody who's over here, but we settle for somebody who's over here because so like it's almost like the way I think about it is like when Warren Buffett at the beginning, if you read his book Snowball, the way he started the way he started investing, he was he was instead of finding really good companies, he would find like what he would call cigar butts, which are companies that were underpriced, like companies that had more assets than they were selling for, and they were selling for super cheap. And so he kind of be like he was essentially dumpster diving to find these little companies that were underpriced. They had more assets that they were selling for, and so he would just like buy them, just like flip them for a profit, right? And so he that's how he his strategy was. He would analyze how much he thought a company was worth, and he'd like if he can find it for a fraction of that price, essentially with a good level margin of safety that he can calculate, he would go all in. But the problem with those companies is that they were bad companies. A lot of times they weren't good companies, or most of the times they were bad companies. So he was investing in them because they were cheap. And essentially the strategy was like they had more assets that they were selling for. So worst case scenario, he would just sell the companies. But so he was buying these companies that weren't that great because he was trying to find a good company at a bargain price. That was his whole mentality. And that's the principle that I took away from it. It's like his whole idea was like finding a good company at a bargain. And when Charlie Munger came in, he brought a different strategy. Instead of bringing in the strategy of let's find good companies at a bargain, it's let's find great companies at decent prices. And so that shifted the game. Instead of trying to think of like, you know, the kind of like where you're trying to get the most value out of your buck, but you're only willing to pay a little bit of money. So you're taking this tiny little risks with a little bit of money. You're buying this company that might not be so good, but you could flip it for a little bit of profit. You're buying companies that aren't that good, but you're making some profit on them. And so that was his strategy. Whereas like Charlie Munger came in and it's like, hey, let's just buy and hold companies that we can find that are good, that are amazing companies, that we can find them at a great price. And so great price doesn't mean like cheap, undervalued bargains, like, kind of like flea market prices. But they were just looking for a good price. And so that mentality for me in business, it's been the shift of like, trying to think about the way I thought about it when I was hiring our first employees. It was always thinking about and the idea behind it was like, how can I find the like good talent for like really cheap price? And so that was my mentality, just because of being like scarce. Like, before we had this business that now is, growing, and thankfully it's going well. But before this, like, many years ago, we used to own a dance studio, and when COVID hit, we decided to let go of that dance studio. We lost everything, and so it got rough for a while. So there was a period of time where we couldn't even pay rent. And so coming from that, it puts you in like this scarcity mindset where you're afraid to take this bets, this risks. And so like my mindset was like, how can we find like good talent for like cheap prices, right? Whereas like now my mind is shifting and I'm like, how can I find amazing talent at a good price that we can afford? How can we find really amazing people? Because amazing people are the ones that are going to drive us, or that are going to help us drive this business forward. They're the ones that are going to make the vision that I am thinking about, to make this vision a reality. We need people who are extremely smart, who are fast, who take initiative. Not somebody who's just going to take orders and do what they're told. We need people who can think. And so like, these people are expensive, and so, but they're worth it. Like one of the things that Naval Ravikant talks about is like a lot of people think about, you want people who do 10x the work, but you're not willing to pay 10x the money, which is, it got me thinking. I'm like, yeah, you're not gonna find somebody like amazing for nothing. You're gonna pay a good price, and so this is like the whole thing of like taking big bets is something that I'm thinking about. That I am starting to make decisions faster. If I see something that I'm like, okay, I know this is the right decision to make, I make it. I'm starting to become a little bit more decisive. Normally, I struggle because I doubt myself. Just because in the past I've always like trying to look for answers. I saw this video from the guy. I think it was in a podcast in the Iced Coffee Hour. I forget his name. The guy who sold Teachable, and one of the questions that Graham asked him is like, what you learn, what would you do differently? And one of the answers that person gave is, I would um listen to myself more, and I would, follow my intuition more, because he's like, a lot of people are just also, they're just winging it. Like nobody really has the answers, and that's something that I've come to learn more and more, even with the mentors that I have followed, that thanks to them I've gotten this far, because I've learning from them. But I've even asked my mentors about the ideas that I've had, and they see it totally different. Not wrong, it's just in my head. I realize like sometimes you have intuitions, and you have, just because of where you're at and they're not in your position, they can't see everything you can see. And so you might think somebody else knows best. And what I'm realizing is that that's not the case. Oftentimes they're just like, other people are just guessing, And so like for me, it's this idea of like, starting to trust myself more, and starting to lean into this visionary role, and starting to take myself and my ideas a lot more seriously. And so anyway, um, that's what I have in mind right now. Um, just this whole idea of like finding good talent, finding good people, um, taking big bets is something that I've been thinking a lot about lately. So yeah, I'll wrap up with this. It's 10:42 p.m. I want to call it a night. Tomorrow we got some exciting news for our people inside our for our clients inside our company. Super excited to do that. A little bit nervous. It's gonna be like 100 people or more in a Zoom call. We're gonna be dropping some good news on them. We created a presentation to walk them all through it. And so, yeah, really excited to do that tomorrow. Um, yeah, I'll keep you all posted. See you tomorrow.